not safe.
Listen, peanut gallery.
That's so good energy.
Yeah, to do something. Yeah.
Come on in.
Okay, we're all set.
Ready? All right, here we go. Welcome to the Berlin Select Board open meeting. Today is Monday, April 7th. After a few technical difficulties, we are rolling. Call to order at 6:07. As a reminder, open session public meetings are subject to being recorded. Your image and voice may be recorded forever and ever. All right, we have 3 minutes to catch up on February 24th, March 10th, and March 17th.
I'm fine moving all 3 sets of minutes.
All right. I will second that motion. Any other comments? Nope. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dee. I know we still have a few more to go, but we will get there.
They'll all be done.
Don't worry about it. All right. Open it up for any type of general public comment. Nope. All right. We are down to appointments, hearings, and presentations. Welcome Council on Aging Director, Melissa Sargent. Is this your first time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now speak clearly into the mic because if you turn your head, people can't pick it up. You can
Just
move it.
move the whole thing over in front of you because it's a directional mic. It just needs to be in front of your face. There you go. You don't need to like talk into it. Just needs to be here. There you go. You're good.
But no pressure.
No pressure.
All right. Welcome. What you got for us? Nice to see you. Welcome aboard.
Just an update from the COA, just things that I am working on, things that we have done since November. The first thing I did was reinstate my senior center. It's a database that will allow us to track attendance for events and the well-being of our seniors. This program also has the capability to allow our police and fire access to the system and the information as well. So if there's anything, allergies or any known, I guess, issues or anything going on, we can have that conversation with them and they would know what's going on if they're called to the residence. It will then be able to provide hard data on what events are being attended and where we might be missing the mark on any events that we're holding. I do have a survey that is ready to go out to our 60+ households, just to kind of pinpoint more of what they are looking for from the COA, what we can bring in. We do currently still host yoga on Saturday mornings. We have had 80 participants since November. That 80 is comprised of about 6 to 8 of the same people attending. We do still have Tai Chi on Tuesdays. That is 122 attendees since November. That is comprised of 10 to 12 of the same people. So there's a little bit of duplication, trying to work on getting more people there. I started Veterans Breakfast in February. This is a free breakfast open to all veterans. It does require registration just so we make sure that we have enough food. That will be held the second Thursday of every month. From here forward, I had 13 people attend in February, 11 attend in March. April's is coming up on Thursday, and I have 13 people signed up for that one. We did bring back grab and go meals for March. We had 63 meals provided to 32 people. We do have one scheduled for May. We are trying to figure out an option instead of just a grab and go, maybe setting up a few tables and people would have the option to stay. They would have to let me know that. But we're trying to get people out in the community more instead of giving them a meal and kind of having them go home. So social isolation is still pretty big with our senior population. So if we can have a meal with 5 people sitting there, that's what we're trying to do for that. What else? Let's see. I did attend a meet and greet at 19 Carter in January. I had about 20 people there in attendance. Just went over what I wanted to do, where I saw a program in 3 months, give them information on our Connect program, which I will get to later. I do have coffee hour every Wednesday at 19 Carter. So I have an office hour type thing. there. And then I do hold monthly meetings with Evie from 19 Carter and Sue Henry from Neshoba Neighbors. We do have, Integrity Medicare Advisor is coming in. His name is Cole Stairs. He's the advisor. He is here the second Monday of each month. He has helped 12 seniors so far. And then we do have transportation, is currently being run by a grant between MWRTA and WRTA. The service started, February 17th. And at the last count, the last update we had for the first month of service, they provided 33 rides to 9 different riders. That service goes from Berlin, Hudson, and 3 Points in Marlboro. It is an on-demand service. So when they are ready, they call, and then it is a first come, first serve. I haven't had any complaints come back to me yet, and the longest that somebody has had to wait from their call to pick up was 30 minutes. So nobody has said that that's an issue or anything. So people seem very happy with it. We are trying to work with them on points that they do not cover in light of our budgeting discussions, trying to see if we can coordinate with them points west or to Worcester to kind of bridge that gap of what we are seeing now. I am starting to get a few calls on medical appointments that people have that we're unable to help them with right now. So we have a few things behind the scenes that we're trying to coordinate, but a lot of moving parts. So that is everything that we've done, I think. I do have 5 things coming up in May. We have a lunch and learn with the Medicare, Medicaid, Integrity Medicare Advisors, Veterans Breakfast. I do have bingo coming with MedMinder. They are a medication organization system. So if you have somebody that isn't able to take their pills directly, you can put them in pouches or in a medicated locked system, and it'll only open at that time. So they're going to come and give more information with bingo. I do have a presentation with Lifeline Medical Alert Systems coming in. We do have the grab and go meal. Like I stated before, we're trying to get that maybe as more in person as well. Then we have some future events that I don't have dates for, but I am working on. I'd like to do a safety presentation with Berlin Police and Fire and EMS, an ice cream social. I know we've done that in the past, and I think that was successful. School supply drive to Berlin Memorial School. It's represents one of the intergenerational things. We collect from the seniors and we give it to the younger kids. We do have Nutrition Week in September, so I'll have multiple events through that week coming. I have a chocolate tasting, a cookie swap. I know, I'm getting there. Home care agencies, elder law, estate planning, and then gifts for seniors, which I believe the Council on Aging has done. But that just provides our seniors that don't have the capabilities of going out and buying warm gloves and hats or food. Again, just collecting from the community. So I'm trying to schedule one information session and a fun event, one, per month. And while it all does take money to provide any of the programs, I am currently looking for some state and federal grants to offset the cost. So we don't have any additional cost to seniors or adding to a budget that we're already discussing. So, and then just lastly, I just had our donations. We do have 15,000 in donations. That does include $14,000 from the formula grant. And that is, we do get federal money. It's $15 per senior as of the last census. So that amounts to about $14,000 for this year. And then our expenses was $8,172, which does include, my senior center and the grab and go meal. So, but that's where I am. That's what I'm working on.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a nice schedule.
Have you talked, I know that you said you mentioned you working with 19 Carter, you're working with the Neshoba neighbors. What about rec?
I have not reached out to rec yet.
Okay,
I did have some ideas, more on the intergenerational side, because it's not just, you know, the young kids that need rec. But it is on a to-do list.
Okay. all right. For the chocolate tasting, will you be providing Tums for those of us who get heartburn when we eat chocolate?
Sure, absolutely.
I have some in
Appreciate
my drawer, big bottle if you need some.
All right, appreciate that.
I probably have some in my bag, actually.
Do you? All right, then I am
Possibly a
covered.
one-day liquor license for wine and chocolate pairing.
Oh,
We could do that.
we can get you
Maybe.
know the person who can get you the application.
And then-
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's, just trying to make some fun stuff, you know, get people involved, like the cookie swap.
Mhm.
Just bring cookies and swap them and
Well, you've done quite a
Trade 'em
bit
out.
since November and getting our seniors out and about and involved, so congratulations. On the van, are you thinking of seeing if we can get to Clinton? Because, well, I read the Clinton COA little newspaper that comes out, and I know that they do the van that way, towards like Leominster, Lancaster, so I didn't know if there's any way that
it would be
kind of like hook into Clinton,
worth
drop them off.
trying to have a conversation. I know, when I was in Clinton, they consider it tandem. And so it's a lot of planning. So we'd have to get them to Clinton and then Clinton would have to take them to
Wherever.
Leominster or Fitchburg or whatever that route would be. It just gets more tedious with scheduling and it goes through who's dispatcher. Do we provide the full, does Clinton get the credit? So there's a lot of
That goes into it.
behind the scenes, which we have a meeting, you know, with Josh from WRTA. Certainly something to check out. But it is a drastically more intense to to plan that than, yeah.
And then 2 or 3 COA directors before you. We talked about seeing if we could do something similar to the Yahoo program. I think it's Yahoo
Mhm.
in Sterling, where you match up senior kids at high schools, Tohoto and or Assabet, and they work with seniors in town to maybe do leaf raking or weeding or just like light stuff. And the seniors in high school would actually get some type of credit. Unfortunately, that COA director left and the 2 principals that we had spoken with at Tohoto and Assabet are no longer there.
Mhm.
Because when I come through Clinton and Sterling, I always see the Yahoo signs and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh.
Yes. Actually, I have to give credit. Louise Janda actually brought that up to me that she spoke to the principal at Tohoto and she's on board for anything that they can do to help us. So I just need to reach out and see what kind of credits they would get, how we, you know, paperwork, things of that nature. I did just speak with Louise last week about it. So
And it's the
I
end of the
love it.
school-
I hope
It's
we
the end of
can.
the school year, so probably
But if we can work with the administration from now, then in the fall, we'll just be ready to go with,
roll.
yeah, fall cleanups or, you know, anything we can help provide to
Yeah,
the
'cause
seniors.
The Boy Scouts used to do it. They all got badges. I know they came up to my dad's house and they
Okay.
would do raking and things like that, you know, helping veterans. So just thought that would be kind of cool for the
Yeah,
seniors who are still in their own homes that want to, but have trouble with.
the everyday maintenance and
Yeah.
upkeep. It becomes a lot.
Yeah.
For them, yeah.
Anything there, Mr. Scott?
No, I was good. I'm very happy with the report. I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
things are going on.
Well,
I could add one
Mhm.
little thing, well, 2 things actually. So I've been really receiving a lot of positive feedback. I'm gonna just embarrass Melissa for a minute. She's been fantastic to work with. We've met many times since she's come in. And she passed her 90-day review with flying colors. And I have to say, she's starting to put in more time than she has hours. So I actually did reach out this evening before I came here to the personnel committee about going back to see if we could add 6 more hours per week, given the things that are going on. And everything that Melissa has been working on. I have said, you know, if there's a couple of things you've had to come in on for a Friday, making sure that she gets paid for those, because there have been some things that have had to be rescheduled, like a veterans breakfast due to weather or what have you. But I do feel that she is making the most of the time that she has here, and that a few more hours would be very beneficial. And we do have that within the existing budget. So I'm going to be asking if we can have a personnel committee meeting to have that conversation.
And you're also helping me with the ADA grants.
I am, yes, that is
So-
new. I don't have experience with that, so.
It's fun. It's
That's-
all investigation
Yeah.
stuff. You know, and then we write it up and she wordsmiths it and sends it in.
I read it and say,
Make
this
it
looks
fancy.
great. It's a
Okay,
good-
cool. All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
No,
All right,
thank you very
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Come back if you need anything. All right, Kristen, you're up. Town report,
All
or
right.
town admin report.
I have good news that scares me a little bit because it seems like it came up so quickly, but the budget and the warrant have been finalized and they have gone to the printer. They went last Thursday, and we are expecting them to go in the mail the 9th or the 10th, which is Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So much sooner than the 5 days before, that obviously is very short, but that is the legal requirement under the bylaw. We do have at this time a balanced budget recommendation from the FinCom of just shy of 18 million. It's $17,951,990. That does not fully fund the school's requested budget amount. There is a difference of just under $107,000 between the Berlin-Boylston Regional School District's requested budget amount and the budget that is recommended by the FinCom. Reason being, they wanted to try to stay within an approximate 4% levy increase, with 2.5% being kind of the standard, but because we have the excess levy, they were willing to go up to 4%, but not anymore. To fully fund the school's request, it would be about a 4.75% increase on the levy. We do still have that excess levy capacity, which is why we don't have to go to an override. I did put a little blurb in the Powderhouse News this month about that, because a lot of people say, how can you tax more than 2.5% without having a ballot vote, which is a very valid question. So I did a little explanation on the cover of this month's newsletter about excess levy and how that works. I tried to make it simple and straightforward. So if you don't get the Powderhouse News, here's a little plug for it. Many thanks to Dee and Lori Fairbay, who have been writing it. It can be accessed on the homepage and you can of the town website, and you can sign up to receive the newsletter in your inbox monthly when they become available. We also put hard copies at the library, the general store, 19 Carter, and down here in the lobby.
That's correct.
Okay. So excellent job to all. We also have just about finalized the town report that will be available at town meeting. So that is on its way to the printer, I believe. Excuse me, it's gone to the printer. See, ask and you shall receive. It's already gone. So many thanks again to Dee and Lori Fairbay. That's a giant undertaking that they do every year. So this is a busy time of year. There's a lot going on, mostly surrounding the budget and the warrant. Wanted to call folks' attention to the website. We have a budget page on the website. If you haven't heard about it, it can be accessed from the homepage. We also now have the information and the warrant for the town meeting on the homepage. If you go down into the news section on the main page, it says 2025 annual town meeting. You can't miss it. And you can click right on the click here to view the warrant. You can see the warrant that you will be receiving in your mailbox, either later on this week, beginning of next week. But if you'd like an early view of it, it is available on the website. And also just wanted to remind folks, we will be having an information session on April 17th. Did I steal that from you? Oh, there she goes.
Max, if you could zoom in on this, that would be great. There you go.
We are having a town meeting information session on Thursday, April 17th at 6:30 PM right here in this room. We will be going over the warrant. We will have guest speakers. Look at that.
Look at that. Thank you,
Very
Max.
nice. And bring your questions about the budget and about town meeting articles. There's also a Zoom option and, as usual, a YouTube streaming option if you would like. And we'll be here in person as well to answer your questions. And that's all I have for you.
Any questions?
The order of operations when it comes to voting on the school board budget. If I understand the comments you've made and we've heard before, is that when we get to the school board, the motion will be the school board's recommended budget.
Yes, correct.
So the school board's budget number comes first. The moderator will ask FinCom their recommendation. They're going to say they don't recommend it. They recommend a lower number. They'll ask the select board recommendation. It's going to be our recommendation is to support that number. And then there's normal debate and discussion at that point.
Yes, because we break the budget up into sections. So the Berlin-Boylston has their own section.
Right. And so because of that, I going back to what some of the people said, and I don't believe we've ever talked about the school board budget after 11 o'clock on a meeting night. But I think when we get to that warrant article number, which is 4 or 5,
Yep.
that we do the school board budget first and then get into the town budget. And that we probably try to make that just a regular habit, that their number is a separate number in some respects. And that we call it out that way, and we might even, and had I thought of this a month ago, I would have said this before we talked about the warrant, that a warrant article that's the school budget, a warrant article is the rest of the town's budget. And then I want to think about how we present that to people at the spreadsheet, because the way the spreadsheet works is FinCom's recommended number, which has a bottom number on it, which is not the numbers the starting numbers we're voting on. We're voting on from FinCom for everything else except for Assabet and the schools, and Assabet being a smaller number, we've just boiled it in.
Right. So the good news is we don't put the budget motions in the warrant.
Right,
Those are
right.
done on a separate sheet. So that still could be the first one.
Yep.
If that's, if the board would like to make that motion, I can forward it to the moderator.
Right. I would like to make a motion that we request that the school budget be first and separate to the moderator. Because it's his call sort of at this point, how to break that down.
Correct. Oh, you're looking for a second?
Well,
Okay, I
I
second
can't
it.
second it.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And then I would plead to parents out there that just, I would like not to have a mass exodus when we're done the school budget. There's a lot of other important things that go on in this meeting. I'd like other people to sort of stay, but I get that family is important, and getting kids to bed at a normal time is also important as well. So, we'll see how this works, and we'll adjust it sort of for next year if necessary.
And it will be one number that gets voted
Yep.
on, but it is broken down in italics underneath in the warrant, so you can see what the operating capital and debt assessments are by school. To your point about folks who can stay, one of the things that I heard repeatedly throughout this budget process was, why doesn't the town have new growth? Why isn't the town doing development, bringing in businesses? These are all things that get discussed at town meeting. So the parents should not be there just for the school budget, but if you want to see changes in zoning, if you want to weigh in on other things that impact the town, staying for as much of the town meeting as you can and weighing in on those critical points
Right.
is really beneficial.
Right, town meeting several times has voted against drive-throughs.
3 times. to
Three
be
times
exact.
against drive-throughs, and because of that, there are 3 drive-throughs feet away from the town border that are providing the town of Hudson 6-figure income that doesn't come to the town of Berlin, where all the trash, the amount of trash we get from those 3 is probably the same, whether they were on the Berlin side or the Hudson side.
Agreed.
And we might end up seeing the same thing over at Solomon Pond Mall if we're not careful, where restaurants that would bring in meals tax would instead go on the other side, where the trash difference between it being on one side of the imaginary boundary and the other is negligible.
Correct. This is not a municipal problem alone to fix. This
Mhm.
is a problem that all of the residents, the school and town administration need to work together to try to resolve in terms of smart growth and development and what we want to see while still preserving what makes the town special.
Agreed. And you know, for all the nameless, faceless people on Facebook who complain about Berlin isn't doing enough, I really would like to see them step up and offer suggestions and
Yep.
not just point. And unfortunately, we heard that a few times during the meeting that we had with parents. And so, you know, the obvious question is, well, what do you want us to do?
Right.
And what can we do? And will you work with us? Because here you go. There's Scott and I in May. We will have another one. But we can't work together on anything, so you gotta help us
Yep.
here. We may be the CEOs of the town, but we are directed by the people who live in the town. So here's your opportunity to step up and
Good.
do.
Well, and even as a small town, we are not the head of everything, you know,
No.
the school board is its own thing, the library board
Yep.
is its own thing, the health board of health is
Mhm.
something, the planning board and ZBA are sort of, and assessors are generally sort of the other bodies that have as much impact on these things as we do. So we're gonna divvy up the warrant as next?
Yep. Well, yeah, just, so do we need to do anything, discuss and vote on the budget and the town meeting warrant? Are we set with that?
We are
Yep.
set.
All right, so yep, so the town meeting motions, this is where Scott and I go through a very resourceful method called rock, paper, scissors, if no.
I thought it would just be odd and even, actually.
All right.
I haven't looked even that closely, but
I thought it was flipping a coin, so I'm outdated.
All right. Well, are there any that I know that there's a couple that you're partial to, and there's one that I'm partial
right,
to.
the three motions that are to take elected positions and make them appointed really was sort of
You're-
the thing that I have pushed hard, and so I will continue to push them sort of at town meeting.
Well, here, let's
Um,
just go through them quick. All right,
yeah.
so Article 1 is prior year expenses.
I know.
Do you have a preference?
So
No.
exciting.
I know this is the exciting part of the meeting that you're all here for. All right,
So Scott,
so Scott can
Okay.
take that one.
I'll take number one.
And then number 2 is free cash to conservation land.
Right,
That's
So-
easy. I can take that
Yep.
one. Repurpose library capital funding.
They're gonna read that actually,
Oh,
the
excellent.
library trustees.
All right, psych. 4 is, the operating budget.
Which
Well,
is,
that's all
FinCom.
FinCom.
Yep.
That is a case of not it.
5 is capital planning.
Yep. It's capital. Let's see.
6 is OPED,
Yep,
which is, I'll take it just because I'm next.
all right. And then, I've got all right, so I'll do the classification
Yep.
one. I wrote down 7 classification, not like who's doing it. Hello, all right, and then 8 is to put money aside for building vehicle equipment
Sure.
repairs.
I have that one, sure, 8.
Okay. 9 is to amend the revolving fund
Yeah.
bylaw. I'll take that one.
That's a Board of Health.
Ooh.
request.
What is it?
Psych, all right,
I don't know if I can find out if they would like to read it or if they would prefer that, I mean, it's coming
I-
from the Board of Health.
It's kind of the Board of Health,
then
they should read it.
then they get up and do it. All right.
Yep.
10, I'll take, since that one,
Yep.
next one was mine. 11,
Oh,
it's
you
PEG.
you gotta take 11.
All right, I'm taking 11 because it's
Yep.
PEG spending.
12 is CPA.
Yep.
13 is CPA, 14 would be CPA.
13 through 15.
I
think.
know 15 is us because we're the sponsor of
Oh.
15.
That's right.
So I'll take 15 since I'm falling behind now. It makes us 4 and 4.
Scott. 16, 16,
sorry.
Scott.
Why
this
why
one-
don't you take 15 so I can
Okay.
take 16, 17 and 18.
16 through 18 is Scott.
Yep,
19, then this perfectly lines up. I'll take 19 because that's
Yep.
moving to a 5-member board.
yep.
Well, and,
That put me back on 20, which is the Legion,
yep,
which is actually Housing Trust might actually take that one.
Okay.
We'll see if Housing Trust takes 20.
all right. Ooh, 21, Earthlink, Earth removal.
Is this one where we have to shoot odds and evens and loser has to present?
No, I'll take it. We'll take it. All right.
Cause I think, that's many pages long. Let me-
It is many pages long. I'll go through and come up with some
tw-
highlights.
22 is planning board,
Correct.
20, whoops,
23, whoops.
should also be planning
Yep.
board. Missed which way there
24
is.
is town clerk.
And, the annual town election,
Yep.
does town clerk actually read that, or do we actually?
Usually the person who's up for the next seat, which we don't have one. So Scott, if you want to take that one.
24
Yeah.
and 25 is adjourned, right?
Yep. So you can do 24 and 25. See you
Yep.
later. Bye. All right.
Well, actually, 24 adjourns you to the
All
election.
right, January 4 is adjourned, yes.
Correct.
Yep.
And
23
also-
was PB as well?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Any of these two, if you'd like to turn it over on the description, like the earthworks or whatever, I'm happy to help too.
Okay.
We ended up
Whatever
7
works
and
best
7.
for you.
Look at that.
That was
Excellent.
fast.
All right. So next up is discuss, vote town administration evaluation process. So what we had to do, unfortunately, our process was not in line with the recent Supreme Judicial Court ruling, which caused us to pause and redo ours so that we were in alignment. Kristen was kind enough to send it out to legal. I looked at their comments. They were not like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
No, most of it was in the email of, looking at a tool to evaluate the TA.
Yep.
That is distinct from what everyone else is evaluated by, was their recommendation, and they would be happy to help, or we could try to modify the one that we have.
Well, I mean, she did. She being town council did go through and highlighted and said, take this out, replace results with tool. So that's why I said add the word and, take out a word here. So they were nothing like, this was nothing earth shattering that she had for comments.
No, not on the process. What I was meaning was most of her comments were on the actual form,
Oh.
evaluation form itself.
Yeah, that's a definite redo that we need to do.
But yeah, the process, it was just little, I didn't see anything that was really earth shattering either.
Well, then, I mean, as long as the process is fine, we can limp along with the current evaluation form that we're using, and we'll just add that to the list of the 8,612 things that we need to update.
Right, well, and for the last couple of years, that form, most people who responded either A, didn't use the form at all.
Correct.
Just free-handed things, or wrote comments in sections just to get their comments out. So I think we encourage people to not feel constrained by the form if they have things they want to share.
Very true.
All right, so is there a motion to accept the comments on the process?
So moved.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so does that mean we're also announcing that we're going to kick off the process?
We are going to kick
Dates?
off the process, and we will be providing to our non-board designee,
Right, so we're gonna
Mhm.
designate
Miss D. D.
as
Green.
the recipient.
So all comments will go to her. She will summarize and present them to us in an open session. This way, you can't, I'm not seeing his, he's not
Right.
seeing mine, I'm not seeing somebody else's. So
That was the court order, and the court commentary had nothing to do with the town of Berlin. It was a different
Yep.
town's thing, but they point out that it can be seen as a violation of open meeting laws if my commentary on the town administrator goes to Peg, because there's then side conversations about something that does significantly impact the town. And so that we have to have a neutral third party that is not a select board member receive all the commentary, do the summary, and then the summary is presented to us
Mhm.
where we see it all for the first time at an open session.
all right, so we'll kick that off. So what's today, the 7th? By the end of the month, can we get comments back to Miss D?
But usually am I not doing a self-evaluation?
Yeah, you need to do
Right.
yours too.
Yeah, when do you want that by?
End of the month. Or do we, what Well, contractually, we have to give it to you in April, don't we? Or,
I believe it says that the evaluation occurs in
In
April. I don't think it's, I
Right.
mean,
The reason, because I'm the one who put the April in it when we wrote it, was the idea being that the existing select board does the administrative review. So,
Mhm.
because one of the things that, again, when I first came on the select board, one of the first things I did was evaluate a town administrator who I had not worked with
Right.
yet. And so I think it also
Mhm.
provides stability that if for some reason there was a changeover and someone who felt very differently joined, there at least the town administrator has some stability that there was a document that said as of this date, we think
Okay.
these are your strengths and weaknesses.
what if I get it to you by, say, the 15th? And then if you'd like to have everything for your meeting on the 28th, in the meantime, you could be reaching out and asking for feedback
Mhm.
from others.
Mhm.
And then you could both prepare your evaluations and get them to Dee by
I think,
perhaps the 23rd.
Mhm.
I think we,
Reaching out to others for them.
I can send it out to
I
the
think-
department heads.
yeah. So I think Dee, you get, so the return date for department heads and any committee heads who want, and if people are watching this and you want to do, if you end up sending to Dee your commentary about Kristen, but I think we have to have it by the 22nd. The 21st is a holiday they are not working on.
Right.
And so by the end of the day on the
Mhm.
22nd,
Yep.
that gives you a week to do a summary of that for us for a meeting on the 29th. 28th,
Eighth.
So comments.
which would be
by
our last
end of
meeting
day
prior
on the
to a
22nd.
new
Yep.
person joining the board.
Yep.
And those comments would also, or would that also include your reviews as well by
Yeah.
end of day
Yep,
on
yep.
22nd? Okay.
All right. Moving onward, reconsideration of a change of officers application submitted by Interstate Theaters Corporation doing business as Solomon Pond Stadium 15.
I already turned over the yellow folder.
I gave it to,
Okay. Yes.
Dave.
No, I was just gonna look at it because this is just a change of officer at,
Yes, and
at-
you've
at
already
the-
approved
right.
this once.
Right.
It was sent to the ABCC and the ABCC followed up with the applicant, but they got no response. So they returned it, no action.
okay,
So now we have the opportunity to resubmit it for them. for
Okay.
Reconsideration. And their reason for not responding is they were in the middle of a move from one office location in one law firm to another. And they've now submitted the documents with everything they've asked.
I would make a motion that we resubmit.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Skipping along, discuss vote on proposal for long-term rental of 1870 Town Hall.
Okay, so I would like to thank Dee again. She has done the legwork on this with the company that will be licensing the town hall for 3 months. As we spoke about at the last board meeting, they were interested in likely a 3-month rental. They have confirmed they are interested in May, June, and July. We did negotiate a fee with them for those 3 months. The fee total is $60,000. And there are additional fees beyond that, which would be $4,000 per filming day if it goes beyond. $750 per day for the rental of the building if it goes beyond the original 3 months. And then police, fire, DPW, town staff, et cetera, our details are all paid independent. They also want to have a town staff person either there or on call should there be any issues during their 12-hour filming days that they will be there. And the reason that they are looking for the 3 months is because they will be setting up their sets and leaving them there. So they're not going to be breaking them down in between filming days. So that is the negotiated fee.
The cost to the town to have someone available to them.
They will pay $100 an hour. Or whatever the person's making. They said initially 100, then they backed it down to
Yeah.
if it's a townsperson, we'll pay them what they make
Yep.
per hour.
And that, do we know how many rentals are impacted? by this?
Yep, there are a number of rentals. We did talk to Sandra last week. She is in the process of reaching out to folks and doing canceling like we had discussed at the last meeting. We did pull some data about cost impact because one of the requests was that we help offset the cost to the 1870 building fund for what we normally would bring in during those months. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
This fee that's coming in for this is not going to the building fund?
That fee has to flow to free cash and then be appropriated at town meeting.
And that's different than so that's what all rentals do that?
No,
So why does this rental flow to free cash and all of the rentals don't? Because this to me is just another rental. A rental is a rental, isn't it?
there's a lot more to it. It has to do with the licensing that we have to issue, and it does have to go through the select board film permit process. So my understanding is that part of the board's intention here was to try to recoup some revenue for the town. And then we would offset whatever cost to 1870 that they would lose over the summer. Because there's not just the 1870 fee. The biggest part of that fee is the cost for the filming and not just the use of the building, but we do have filming permits and licensing permits and parking, and there's a number of other, things that are rolled into
At
it.
the end of the day, it's all Berlin money, so we'll worry about it later on. Do we, again, how many rentals are impacted? Are we talking a couple hundred? Are we talking 3? I
I
can
think
give you
there's
the exact
regulars
Right.
that are impacted, some recreation programs that usually take their programs outside once the weather warms.
Yep.
We do have a dance recital
Yeah.
that will be impacted, the wood turners that will be
Mm.
impacted. We spoke to them earlier today. And then there's some
There
other
is a
smaller
Memorial Day
rentals.
breakfast, yeah, and most of it is the small one-off kind of rentals here and there, so.
Memorial Day breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't be able to go to First
The
Parish.
church, nope. Maybe St. Joseph's will step up.
And so of those, there's not many of them are. I don't want to, I'm trying to find the right words. A lot of them are sort of town events, town organizations are officially and aren't tend to be paying much. Anyway,
Yes, we did an average. We looked at what we brought in last year, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we brought in $500 in June and 1,900 in July.
Yeah, there was one month that was very high.
But yeah, two grand was about the highest that we brought in for any one month during that time period. So that's why it makes it challenging to pass this up.
right, I get that part of it. My brain is how do we try to make both 1870 whole?
Yep.
Which with the pool of money you could do, and how do we make the renters sort of whole the best we can? And then so because and for me, a July 29th event that you're learning about canceling, April 1st is easier to negotiate around than a May 1st event would have been, and people associated with the town, like the rec committee,
Mhm.
some of them have heard this coming down the pipeline and might be more prepared than someone who might not be as close to the town. And is there anything else we can do beyond just sort of refunding someone the money they might have paid for it? I
I
don't
know,
know.
because unfortunately, we have no other space in town that we can
Right.
say we will gladly move you. But we have no.
Right, well, and I don't know what the events are like,
Yeah.
whether or not the training room is appropriate for a one-off event,
we
or
thought-
whether or not 19 Carter could be
We
used for
talked
one of
about
those, or.
having,
The
maybe
COA
COA room if they needed to have the yoga or a class, an exercise class or some sort of
Yeah.
gathering in that room instead of at 1870.
Right. And I think the challenge is, if it's an issue with a stage,
Right.
we don't
Correct.
really
Yeah,
have
yeah,
any
that's
other
right, yeah,
place
yeah.
unless they were to reach out to like Berlin Memorial.
Right.
To see what their, and I don't know what their protocols are for renting there because they're part of the district, not part of the
Right.
town.
Right.
I mean, we did talk about that before we, had this conversation with the filming company, because I thought, well, if we could just rebook folks in places, that would make things much easier, but we just don't really have that option, like you said.
Can we reach out to the school and ask? I mean, I know that
can.
Tohoto rents their auditorium out for plays. So I don't know
I can
if
find out what
it's,
their rules are, or at least who the contact
Oh.
person would be.
yeah.
Yeah.
At least give them an option,
Um,
or, see if people even
Right.
want to shift. They just may say, thanks, I'll go somewhere else.
right. And so I think I think it would be worthwhile to use some of Sandra's time. And if if it needed to be more than her regular hours to use on this, to see what can be done to help make anyone who had a rental sort of whole. Having Sandra do some of that reaching out
Mhm.
so that we're not just handing someone a list of phone numbers to call, especially if we think those phone numbers turn out to be a place you can't use. We're not giving
Right.
someone a
Right.
place to go. But I think since we are we're doing this sort of for economic purposes, the better we can do to just put as much good karma out there as we can. I don't want this as a motion as a formal opinion, but if there was if it wasn't a lot of events and there was a minor cost difference between what they paid for at 1870 and where they had to pay for someplace we helped them get, I wouldn't mind for a handful of events paying that difference. So whoever did rent, because I'd like to think the people who are inconveniencing would come back to 1870 when this is done. And so helping them find somewhere else, helping pay the difference, provided it's not exorbitant, which is, I know, a vague term and I'm putting it out there. But
Mhm.
if it's a $5 difference, definitely. If it's a $6,000 difference, definitely not.
Correct.
Somewhere in there is a number where I start getting queasy.
Mhm.
I don't know where I would pay that out of, though, is the challenge, because this revenue won't,
Yeah.
well, I'm just trying to think.
Does the 1870 Town Hall
There is
Fund
a
have?
revolving,
Right,
and I do
Not
have a
much.
small amount in it
Right.
right now. So that could be a possibility. I'd have to
And-
see if that's an eligible use of funds, because that's all set in the bylaw
Right.
for what you can use those funds for.
Mhm.
I can
and then
definitely
I
look
would
into it.
find how we get some of this money into that fund.
Yep.
Yep.
Figure out from the amount they're paying, how much is really for the rental of the building.
Yeah,
And get
agreed.
it into that fund.
Agreed. I think goodwill will go a long way, and
Yep.
it's a great opportunity for the town of Berlin. Notoriety, money,
Right.
great, I know the town was psyched when Knives Out came over to the old Flat Penny. This would be something nice too, but at the same time, as we've all preached about, we need to take care of the folks in our town who support our town, so let's see what we can do. Maybe by the 28th, Kristen, when we meet again, you'll have an update.
Yep.
Ish. Okay,
I can do that.
all right. I'll put update by 28th.
Right, and if there happened to be something that needed a select board vote that we knew about by the 17th.
17th, yes.
We could do it
Yes,
on
that we could do
I
it
did-
we could do prior to the town meeting.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
pre-town information meeting.
We'll reach out to Sandra.
Okay. All right. So skipping down, we already really kind of talked the town meeting information session again, Tuesday.
Well, what I
Thursday.
want is I want to make sure we don't spend equal amount of time on every warrant article.
Mhm.
Like, I think several of the warrant articles are very routine. And that we might even start off by saying, these articles are relatively routine, and so we're not going to spend a lot of time on them. Like several of the previous year bills.
Yep.
I thought sort of 6 through 12 generally are relatively minor ones. And so that just trying to get the most amount of time on the things that most people are going to be interested in. Which I think is, again, budget, capital, the 3 bylaw changes. And I don't have a good gauge of making positions appointed versus elected. Like, is there
Yeah.
a lot of questions about it, but I might do those three as sort of one like discussion point.
And I mean,
And I'll
the-
gladly take those on.
yeah, and I mean, the whole thing too is that if somebody has a burning question on why are we repurposing library capital fund money,
Right.
then obviously we'll stop and answer it.
Right.
But, you know, some of these are, if you read the warrant, are
Yeah.
self-explanatory as to why we're doing it, but
Right.
we need the town's support and vote in order to do that.
If you want, on some of those small ones, like you mentioned, I can fly through them if you want,
Yep.
on some of the, what you would call sort of, what's the word, not
Well-
common agenda.
Well,
Um,
it-
But I think, again, 6 through 12, I thought were relatively common agenda ones. And so I think you could,
And it actually might make more sense if, cause we're inviting FinCom
Right.
and Library and Capital and Board of Health.
Yep.
And PB, that, PB short for Planning Board.
Yep.
That we have them speak to that. So, you know,
Yeah.
Kristen, it's just not the Kristen show, you know, if Scott's doing number 1 and I'm doing number 2, you know, let us take them because the questions that folks might ask either here or there, they may ask at town meeting, so I'd rather take
Yeah.
that and put it into our notes instead of you having to do it.
I am fine. I am
Okay.
just here to make your life
Yep.
easier if I
Alright.
can. So if you guys want to do it, and then if
Yeah.
there's a question you need me to answer, I'm happy to do it that way too.
so as I think of it, I almost, we're here, the meeting is, we're going to talk about budgets and the big items on the warrant. And I don't think we go through it sort of number by number.
Okay.
That we have, you know, that there's an intro. Scott talks about what he thinks are some of the highlights of the budget. People can ask some questions. We do a separate bucket for questions about the school budget, since that's a separate bucket sort of anyway. We have capital planning, then talk quickly about some of the capital stuff, see if there's questions about that. And I almost might jump to planning board at that point and do the three
Do all those.
bylaw,
Yep.
the three bylaw things.
I mean,
and if
because you'll
there's-
have them up on the screen too,
Right.
Kristen, and can we reel in the big TV
Yeah.
so that folks in the room can see them as well? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
bring
Oh, it's
hard
Right.
hard copies and
Yep.
have people take them and then we're short hard copies at town
Oh,
meeting.
we're just gonna print like 20 off of the printer here.
Okay.
Like not steal from the town meeting
Okay.
ones like we did last year.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
rather do what we did last year, which was not steal from the town meeting.
Okay.
ones.
And then, like if for some reason we're through those three and there's energy, then I think we get into the elected versus appointed
Mhm.
ones and
Moving to
the
5.
the-
Yep.
housing trust one. There might be some questions on, but are not, I think, the larger impact
Okay,
ones.
so you want to have kind of FinCom talk about the budget, then capital.
Right.
Planning board on their bylaws and also earthworks.
Yep.
Then the elected to appointed and then any others. I think
Yep.
that sounds
Yep.
like a pretty good
Yeah.
order.
Yeah, and remind all the others that are coming, all the other boards that are coming, that I will move them along, that it
Yep.
will not be a 10-hour meeting.
No,
That if it starts to drone, I will
Yep.
start to push and move.
yep,
You know, because we need to be respectful of our time and also the folks that might be here.
3 to
And
5
that-
minutes.
That works, 3
Yep.
to 5 minutes, okay,
right.
Do we
All
have
right.
confirmation from anyone yet, Dee, that's wrote
No,
back
I
and said
just
they're
responded.
coming? Okay, because we did reach out last
Yeah.
week, but
well, so then.
We'll talk about them if they're not there.
Right, so then we reach out to them again, and then in the caveat, you could just say,
Why
we
would
will
you?
make no attempt to explain your articles. Thank you. So then they can,
Yep.
they can deal with it on the town floor.
we could reach out to them with kind of a little order that we just came up with. Great.
Right. And if you could remind them that if they all, like if all of PB shows up, they post a meeting.
Yes.
If all of FinCom shows up, they post a meeting. So we're good on that.
Yep.
All right, next up are the CPAC reappointments of MJ Stades and Wayne Texera.
I would move we reappoint the Capital Planning Advisory Committee, MJ Staples and Wayne Texier.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up is to discuss vote the fire and police chief contracts. We talked about them in executive sessions. It's my understanding that they have signed them.
have.
They are in agreement and
And they're
It's-
both very overworked at this time, so I asked earlier today that they not, that they be given the night off.
Right, no.
Um, I don't have in front of me, is there any points we want to just make publicly about either of them? I mean, one of the things that about both of them, actually, and your contract, that I'm very happy that we've done as a town is for years 2 and 3 in all 3 of our department head contracts. It now means that their annual increase will match that of all the other non-union employees in town. And so as a town, we give 2% or 3% or 1% or 0% to the frontline workers. The department heads also get that same increase.
Mhm.
I could give a quick summary if you'd like.
Sure.
We'll start with the fire chief. That one's a little bit simpler. So year 1 has a 3% increase on salary. And as Scott just mentioned, years 2 and 3 will be whatever the cost of living is for non-union employees. It goes up to 5 weeks of vacation from 4 for all 3 years. And there is some language change for both the police and fire about use of vehicle for personal use in case of needing to respond to an emergency. So that's fire.
And then in fire, although his his vacation increased, his carryover didn't increase?
No, police.
Please, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, but the carryover didn't change.
No, not
Right,
for fire.
Right. I make a motion that we approve the fire chief contract.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're supposed to say nice things. So Mike, thank you for everything that you do. You were that hidden gem that we stumbled across years ago. You have done great things for the town, so appreciate you being here and appreciate you bringing a Dalmatian to the town for our fire dog. All right, that was all I wanted to say
Yep.
nice about Mike. Okay. Now I get to think of the nice things to say about Eric. Okay, go ahead.
For the police contract?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me give you a brief overview. So the police contract, the police chief's contract includes a one-time market adjustment based on a salary survey that we did of area comparable chiefs. So this would be a year 1 adjustment to $160,000, followed by years 2 and 3 with a cost of living. It does allow for vacation carryover to go from 8 to 15 days. No increase in vacation, but increase in that carryover. The vehicle language, as we had mentioned, and also allowing the chief to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Training Conference, which is in the US, even though it says international, subject to availability of funding. It also changes in the current contract. It requires accreditation to be done, but it doesn't give a mechanism for actually funding the costs that come with accreditation, such as like changes to the
Mhm.
building, evidence room, other requirements that are there. The state is rapidly changing this, and they are going to likely require all departments in the state to achieve accreditation by close to the end of the 2020s, somewhere like closer to 2030. So we recommend that this accreditation be continued to be worked on and endeavor to achieve it by 2028.
Yeah, I mean, both of us, when we saw that, is that we felt it unfair to have in his contract something that he has he has only some control over,
Mhm.
right? Because if the town doesn't add the money to
He
do it, we
can't,
don't want to
correct.
ding him in his contract that he wasn't able to do something when the town didn't have the money or the state didn't have the rules in place. I have no problem motioning to support or approve the police chief contract.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Eric, thank you for your institutional knowledge of being here in the town so long. And I can see the change in the police force and I can see what you're doing to prime those who will
Mhm.
or may take over your spot after you leave. So we're a small town, but we are a very busy town for both Fire Mike and Eric. So deeply grateful for you both that you are here and that you have chosen us as much as we have chosen you. All right, next up is to chat about the special event application submitted by Rec to host a fishing derby on April 19th from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at South Common Pond.
I would move that we support the special event application for Rec to host their annual fishing derby on April 19th at South Common Pond from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And I will second that. All in favor? Aye, happy fishing. And as a reminder, when they stock the pond, please don't go down and take the fish out of it prior to the event. And then our last item for tonight is to chat about the special event also, application also submitted by Rec to host the Easter egg hunt on April 19th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. It says South Common Pond. It's at South Common, not in the pond. But that could be kind of fun.
I did suggest that.
I
earlier.
did say that, that could be kind of fun
That's
to
where it
whiz,
came from.
to whiz the, that's right, to whiz the eggs in the pond. So immediately following the conclusion of the fishing derby, run across the parking lot and
Safely.
Don't fall in the
safely,
pond.
don't fall in the pond safely, and go hunt some Easter eggs. I know that they will have where the small playground is, they'll cordon that off for the little kids so they don't get clotheslined by the older kids as they run through the field for that.
I move that we support the Rec Committee Easter egg application for April 19th.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, boards and questions and liaison updates. You got any?
I'm good for today.
I don't have any either. So with that, I'm going to take a motion.
To adjourn.
There we go. I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.